Might have been after the
So-
fact too, I don't know.
In legislative.
Well, if you say him, yeah, I don't know anything
All right.
about that.
I'll ask.
All right, well, good evening, everybody. Today is September 22nd, 2025. It is a regular legislative meeting of Barberton City Council this evening. Before we begin, I just ask that you ensure your cell phones are off or on silent, and council members ensure your microphones are turned on. Before we do the regular legislative meeting, we do have individual committee meetings this evening, and we're going to kick it off with City Properties, Park, and Recreation with Mr. Easterly.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's 6:01 p.m. here in Council Chambers, September 22nd. All members are present. Other council is present as well, and all guests is noted. Tonight we have one request for legislation. It's a letter from Todd Shreve, our Service Director, requesting legislation to donate land to Summit County for the assessed amount value of $700 so that the upgrade of the county-owned bridge on Snyder Avenue can be completed. Please see request documents, emergency wording, and one reading requested. Mr. Shreve, would you just like to give us, or do you want a bunch of questions? Give us a rundown of, but I'll give you my questions first, and maybe you can answer them while you're
Okay,
talking.
well, and I'm going to tell you right now, so this project started with Mike, our city engineer, so I will answer as many questions as I can with my limited knowledge on the
That's
project. But I'll happily get any answers to any other questions if I can't answer them.
So I was reading a donation letter, and there's something in there it says, before being required to surrender possession of your property. So is this kind of like a done deal? We have to give them this property?
So in order, yeah, so they maintain the bridge. So in order for them to widen it to meet today's standards with the bridge, my understanding is they need a little bit more property. It's property that we own, so it would be a permanent right-of-way give. So it would be us giving them the property in order for them to carry out the work.
They need a few feet, but that's like a half acre that actually it butts up to one of our other properties, correct? That we
I
use?
believe so, yes.
So it's an all or nothing type thing?
So we're just giving them the
Correct.
chunk they need, so yes.
Well, it says the partial. That's a half acre.
I believe we are just giving them the sliver.
Well, that's, yeah, I'd like to know that.
Okay.
Because it
I
tells
thought
me,
there was
it
another
gives me a
letter that
partial
I
number.
thought explained. And maybe, let me,
Because if it's a right of way, that's different. But a half acre to widen the bridge, I think.
give me, is that, do you have the letters in front of you that were
Yes.
the attachments? What's the gentleman's name that's on that letter that's in your hand?
Paul Manoli. Manello. Yeah, it just gives a partial number, so that tells me that
Okay.
they want the whole thing. And I was just basing it off the square footage of an acre at .55, I mean, puts you roughly around 24,000 square feet. And we're selling at $1 a foot for stuff we don't want, so there's a big difference.
Councilman Easterly,
Yes,
does it give you a parcel number?
it does.
Can you-
0114009.
Yes, sir.
It's behind that auxiliary building at camps.
There's an L shape there?
Yep.
option. Is there?
We've got the quit claim deed, but it, doesn't give footage or anything like that. It talks about the partial.
Okay, I can find that out. Because I mean, I agree with you that I was under the impression that it was just donation of the portion in front
That
in
makes
the
sense.
right of way. That was my understanding. So let me get clarification.
So when will this start, or when will they have to basically have access to that? Because until we get the information, I mean, not really gonna call anything out, because we're
No, I
talking about
understand.
stuff that we don't know.
Yep.
So if this can wait, or we can pull special or something if we have to, but,
I would not hesitate to let you hold it first.
yeah, well, we're gonna table this then, until we get some answers. So we'll stop there with that. Moving on, we have no pending legislation. Open this up for miscellaneous discussion if anyone has any questions. Committee, council, the body. Hearing none, can I
Mr.
have a
Easterling.
motion to adjourn?
Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I just thought of this.
Yeah.
Mum Festival's this weekend. They probably still need volunteers.
Yes, I would say, so if you missed the orientation to be a volunteer, they've made videos, so you can actually, they can send you a link and you can go through the process even after their classes. So I would say day before, maybe, don't quote me, but I said it. But yes, they absolutely need volunteers. Thanks for bringing that up.
Sure.
Any other questions? Hearing none, can I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Can I get a second? A second. Thank you. And 6:08, we adjourn. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Easterling. Next up, Public Welfare and Safety with Mr. Harris.
Thank you, Mr. President. Bring the Public Welfare and Safety Committee to order. It's September 22nd, 6:08 PM. We're in council chambers. All members of my committee are present, including myself as chair, Mr. Easterling, co-chair, Ms. Gerhart, Mr. Greer. All other council members are present. All guests are noted on my sheet. We have several pieces of legislation tonight. First one is a letter from Lisa Kolish Miller, Law Director, requesting legislation to amend ordinance number 35-1992, Americans with Disabilities Act, ADA, to reflect a change in the role of the ADA coordinator to the Department of Human Resources. Emergency language and one reading requested. Everybody see the letter? Any
Yes.
questions? Can I get a motion to call for this, please?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Nope. All right, the second piece will be, I know it says, talks about repealing and stuff, but we're going to make it a new request for legislation, and that would be a new BCO Chapter 670, trees, shrubs, bushes, grasses, and weeds, and declaring an emergency. If you look, a lot of different changes in language, like tree height and stuff. So make an amendment to what we have is just unheard of. Also, you will see in the pending, there's some pending legislation there regarding that, which I will be making a motion to withdraw during our legislative meeting. So, can I get a motion to call for the new BCO Chapter 670, please?
I'll make that motion.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Third piece of legislation, a letter from Mayor Judge requesting legislation to enter into a lease to purchase agreement with NCL Government Capital on behalf of Southwest Summit Council of Governments, SwissCog, for Zetron Max dispatch equipment. Emergency wording and one reading requested. Did everybody see the request? And if you have any questions about it, I can speak about it, or do you have any knowledge other than what we have here?
Yeah, so this is requested, this is needed by Swisscog, to update the system. Our existing system is basically original. There's a new platform going in the first of the year, and so we have to get this taken care of beforehand or they won't talk to each other. So we will acquire it, and then it'll be a lease to purchase. The COG cannot lease things. We will it'll be under our purview. We will invoice Norton for their portion of the bill. So previously, Norton took on a lease purchase and invoiced us for our portion of the bill, because again, the COG cannot lease things.
I was just going to add what the mayor said. Legally, the COG cannot enter into those types of things. So either any of the member of the COG, whether it had been Copley in the previous or Norton or Barberton, we ultimately share that.
Any other questions regarding this? The equipment that's over there is like at least 12 years old, so, and this will give us the opportunity to update it, get updated stuff that communicates with our radios and makes it safe.
I think we saw it in the budget too, when we're talking about it.
Right. Can I get a motion to call for this, please?
I'll make that motion.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. Last one is a letter from Jeremy Flaker, Finance Director, requesting legislation to enter into contract with Zetron to purchase Zetron Max dispatch equipment in the amount of $116,223.55 on behalf of Southwest Summit Council of Governments, SwissCog. This will be funded by a lease to purchase with NCL Government Capital, emergency wording, and one reading requested. And this would fall back to what we just talked about. Any questions? Can I get a motion to call for it, please?
I'll make that motion.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And then pending legislation would be the BCO, Barberton City Ordinance, Chapter 670, Trees, Weeds, and Grass, that I will be making a motion to withdraw tonight during our legislative meeting. Anything else from my committee? Other council members? Gallery? Can I get a motion to adjourn, please?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second. I don't think it's.
We are adjourned at 6:13 PM.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. Next up is Rules, Marketing, and Development. Ms. Garrett.
Thank you, Mr. President. At this time, I'd like to bring the Rules, Marketing, and Development Committee to order. Excuse me. It is Monday, September 22nd, 2025, at 6:14 PM. We're located in council chambers. All members of my committee are present, including myself as chair, Mrs. Beck as co-chair, Councilman Heidick and President Greer, and other council members as noted on my sheet, as well as everybody in the gallery. We don't have any requests for legislation, but we will be continuing the conversation on council rules. And I know Mrs. Beck brought up to me before, just making sure we reiterate, this is for the government of just council. I know we just got through charter changes, which is for the city. This is just for council. So I wanted to put that clarity out there. Did anybody have thoughts or questions that had came up since we talked about this 2 weeks ago? Nobody's staying awake at night? Okay. Mrs. Beck.
I wanted to bring up on page 6, Rule 107. I think there might be a typo in there. The Charter Review Commission, I think that's supposed to read as committee instead of commission.
I agree
Is that
with you.
Correct.
Well, first off, I had my eyes dilated today, so you're gonna have
Just
to,
noticed you had that on.
you're gonna have to read that. I can't
So,
focus on
okay,
writing.
it's the last sentence
How
here.
does it read? I
The
can't
Charter
see.
Review Commission shall have all members plus the council president, who shall preside as the chair. I think that's supposed to say committee, not commission.
Yes, you're
Okay.
correct.
Good catch. And that's the same page we're gonna change from July back to August.
You're just gonna draw a line, just draw a line through that suggestion there.
Yep, okay. Okay. And then,
Can I ask another question?
yes, please.
One more question. Part 6, where you wanted to add information technology to the health and social services. I don't, what would they report on? Like, I've never thought, oh gosh, I'd like to know more about IT because of my role in council. I mean, I don't have a problem with it, but I just don't know, is there something I'm missing here?
Well, right now, who is our liaison to our IT department?
Nobody, but do
Oh,
we need it?
If we don't have anybody.
Okay.
Chair, may I?
Yes, Mr. Heidick.
President Greer, if I wanted to suggest adding a public comment section on the website for council members, right now, who would I go to on council to approach? Who is our designated person to go to IT and see if that can be done?
Well, it's not designated, but that would go to the clerk. She does have control of some of the website, and then that's currently how we do it. So it's either myself or the clerk.
So wouldn't it be nice, for my point, wouldn't it be nice to have somebody designated so we're not bombarding our clerk or our president?
I mean, sure,
with these
just
things?
didn't know if there was a bigger picture I was missing.
No, just have somebody designated to communicate with them.
Oh, I mean, okay, I'll carry either one way or another.
Do we have any other examples of what we would reach out to? I'm just intrigued by the conversation.
Log in.
For logging in?
I mean, it is 2025, and I don't think technology is going to go backwards, so this would just kind of be a little proactive step
I know.
in future councils that it's necessary.
President Greer.
Thank you, Chair. While I understand and actually agree with Mr. Heidick at the general gist of the IT, the council clerk is the one who interacts with the website on a daily, and with IT on the daily, because they're in the same area. We could outline that, just define that the clerk is de facto I understand, but at the same time, Mr. Heidick is looking forward in the future with technology too as well. I'm having a hard time trying to place that. what
I
the
am
actual
too, because I'm
definite
just
thing.
thinking through, like, when I call my IT department, it's because I have a problem. So I would think to reach out to a member of council to say my email's not working. I would think to contact Lori to say my email's not, like, I'm just trying to think through
Yeah,
practical ways that we would be wanting an IT report. What do IT people report on?
But yes, so
Yeah, I
to
don't-
Mr. Heidick's point, it could be also somebody that is looking forward to technology outreach. And it might fall, I don't know, I'm just spitballing here,
Okay.
right? Almost to that PR aspect that someone was talking about.
Okay. So maybe
But
take it
using
less like
tech.
an IT department and more like information being distributed to people.
Basically, the IT guy, whoever is gonna get it to me to put it on the webpage anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, so if we have a PR person that just keeps in touch with me, I can, does that make sense? And then should it get to where we are manning our own IT, I think
He's
that
avoiding
has to
me.
be addressed at that time.
Yeah, we don't handle any IT.
Somebody says, here, this, like when here's a perfect example. You said, you know, our council rules and the charter aren't on the website. So I made a separate category, put them on the website, we were good to go, and we'll keep those updated. I mean, it's not hard to do once you get the hang of it. But getting the hang of it takes a minute.
Yeah. Chair, if I may expand on this. So this topic was something that came up a lot before because we didn't have access or the portal that we have now. The new system does allow us to interact more as a council directly to the website through the clerk, right? She's trained up through that. But that is maybe more clarification from Hyde. That, you know, that's more public information, official business. Postings. Maybe there's something else IT related? Maybe Mr. Heidick, I don't know, expand on.
I mean, when you and I got here 6 years ago, AI wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
Now 6 years. Like I said, all I'm doing is looking at the future, and there are things that we don't know being developed right now that may come into play 4 years from now. It'd just be nice to have something already in place to say, oh, okay, well, this would handle that.
I know. I'm just struggling to see it, I'm struggling to understand it, that's all. President Greer?
Thank you, Chair, again. May I make a suggestion to maybe broaden that to say technology and tack that onto rules? And the reason I say that is rules, marketing, and development. Marketing is, and development, you fall into the marketing aspect of the development. Technology could be on that too as well. Maybe not IT, but just say technology.
Okay.
In general.
That would keep it pretty general. And I think it would help put it with development, because that could be technology different businesses are doing or bringing in or in need of for the city. I know we were also looking at trying to beef up that committee. Okay. I see Chris out in the audience. I wondered if he had any thoughts since he was with City IT. No? Can't think of anything? Okay. So we're adding comma and technology up under rules, marketing, development, and technology. Is that what that would look like? I'm taking it off of here. Okay. Okay. Do we have any more conversation with the Charter Committee, Emily? No. Okay. So I think the next one we looked at was discussing the consent agenda more, going over scenarios and just getting a better understanding, making sure everybody understood the consent agenda. 13, just where it says consent agenda. I liked Councilman Heidick reminded me when we spoke that if you could imagine in your committee, you would also then be doing like a vote for something. So you'd motion, you'd vote, and then you could vote it onto a consent agenda. So it would change committees in that. But Councilman Heidick, can you share again about the consent agenda and how it looks and how it works?
I'll refer the counselor back to read it to me since I can't see it.
It just says consent agenda.
Consent agenda
Oh, I
number
thought it
6 on here, so it's not super more defined.
I swear it was defined somewhere in there.
Oh, wait, I think you're right, sorry. Liquor license. It must go somewhere else.
I know on 18, it talks about the chair of each committee may motion each request to be placed on a consent agenda.
Yeah, go to that page.
That's right.
That's 18.
Chair of each committee may motion each request to be placed on a consent agenda with a unanimous vote from his/her committee.
Yeah, so, all right, so give you an example. Counselor Harris, his committee tonight, instead of asking, do I have a motion to call for this, he would say, do I have a motion to call for this to the consent agenda? In which case, if his entire committee votes yes, it's added to it. Now, let's say Counselor Easterling, let's say he called his out today with that parcel number with the intent of not, or calling it out, but not, or giving it more than one reading. He would just do as normal and say, do I have a motion to call for this? Because it couldn't be added to a consent agenda if it was going to have multiple readings. Do you see the difference there?
So I do have another question. I understand the part where it's, when it's in committee and everyone in committee has to say yes, put it on the consent agenda. So then, so the rest of council, I guess at large, then they also have to consent to put on the consent, right? Am I missing something?
There would be, so let's say that was enforced tonight.
Yeah.
We would have our consent agenda, but we would also have a second agenda because there's a third reading of something. Now, if somebody objected to something being on the consent agenda, it would be stripped out and placed on the other agenda.
So when do we voice that concern? Like during the,
Each ordinance would have to be read as part of the consent agenda, just like now.
I see what you're saying. I get
Yes.
it now. I got it now. Thank you.
No, Mrs. Miller?
What would happen is that each committee would move to put something on the consent agenda. Then, when the consent agenda was presented, you would move to motion to accept the consent agenda. If there was a motion accept, then you vote to accept the consent agenda. If there's a dissent on the motion, it has to be unanimous to accept the consent agenda. That's how the consent agenda works. I can tell you that the consent agenda issue has been up in this council for about 8 or more years. Consent agendas are common throughout this county and the tri-county area. It's to move council meetings along to handle mundane issues. The most mundane issues that we handle that are the most common example I can give you is purchase orders prior to the purchase orders for the invoice. That would be a very common one that we all know what happened, and those would be ones that would be put on a consent agenda. I would also add, I would think of one as the one where we have a law director has not been a law director for at least 30 years, is the ADA coordinator for the city of Barberton. That should not be a controversial substitution to make in the city of Barberton. So the types of things that go on consent agenda should be routine, non-controversial, things that don't need to be discussed in length because they present themselves quite often or are so out of character or so mundane, so to speak. In that one in particular, it's a cleanup, so to speak. And they have been, it has been bantered around for a very, very long time. President Greer can tell you that because he was here when it first started being talked about. So, and the rule can be however you want it to be for the consent agenda. However you want it to be presented, however you want it to be taken out, however you want it to be, it can be that. We've modeled it after, I think, Councilman Heidick, it was out of Ravenna's, I believe. Yes.
And I don't think anybody's opposed to it. We're just trying to make sure everybody here understood it and had
Sure.
time
So
to ask
whatever
any
rule- However it's
questions.
written in the rules is how we're going to handle things. If that is not the one you want, I can find you something else.
Thank you. Mrs. Beck?
One more question about that. So what about things that are referred to, where you're referring that to another committee? That committee, the first committee has to do the consent, and then the committee that's referring to also has to do the consent? Okay, just making sure.
But I'll give another example. Let's say something came up now that was going to involve the DORA, which I always have to abstain.
Yes. Oh, yeah, good.
It would go through the Rules Committee. I would vote to abstain, which would place it on a regular agenda, not a consent agenda, because I would have to be on record of abstaining. I couldn't abstain from the entire consent agenda.
When we know that something like that would be happening, we could just not even take a vote for it to go to
No,
consent,
then
correct?
Then you just call for it,
Like normal?
yes.
Just be a
Okay.
normal thing.
Because we just know that's not what Lisa just explained. It's something that's going to have a
Yes.
person.
And
Okay.
if something is requested to go more than one reading, you just call for it like normal, so it's on regular.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Were there other scenarios that we were thinking of?
Thank you for looking at it, Chair.
You've been here a while, you know scenarios.
So we were just talking about that to understand it. There's going to be scenarios that come up that we never would have thought of. So that's what I was saying, try to walk through different scenarios.
Yeah.
One of the other ones was just like everybody agreed to it at the beginning, and then we're on the floor, we go to vote for it, and then they change their mind, something comes up or they have a different perspective at that point. It would just be pulled out. That one piece of legislation would be pulled out, whatever they're, don't agree with maybe, and then it gets put on a normal thing and nothing else changes on that consent. So-
Okay. Mrs. Beck?
That makes me think of another thing. So if something passes on a consent agenda and it's over and done with, because this has happened before, where that would then be the prevailing side, so really anybody could bring that back. Like
Mr.
thinking even
Heidick?
farther than, once we're all
Yeah.
done with that, like I just go to bed and say, oh, you know what, I really didn't want to do that, can I bring that back?
Mr. Heidick?
Each item on the consent agenda will still have to have an ordinance number. So if the prevailing side wants to reconsider, they would ask for reconsideration of the ordinance number,
Right.
not the entire.
No, that's,
Yeah.
oh, I understood that part, but technically, everybody would have been on the prevailing side. So you can still bring things back.
Oh, sure.
If you have changed your heart,
Sure.
basically, okay.
Good question. Okay.
I can't think of anything else.
Good conversation, guys. Thank you. And then I think the only other thing, Councilman Heidick, we talked about was just putting on for the recording and broadcasting. Right,
Find where you want it, slap it in there.
okay. So after we slap it in there and we cross.
I really wish I could.
So eloquent.
I really wish I could read it right now, but my eyes are killing me. Or I'd tell you where I would think it would go, but.
Oh, no, there was another question. Page 15, we're saying that the president gets to vote on liquor license. Why is the president allowed to vote on a liquor license? Oh, do you need me to read it?
As
A vote of all members, including the president, shall be taken by show of hands.
That was basically to clarify that if it's a tie, the president still has the ability to break the tie.
Okay, he's only the tiebreaker still.
Well,
I feel like it doesn't read that.
It doesn't sound that way, but maybe we could put that in.
again, if the vote's 5-4, it was gonna be 4-4, and he would have been the tiebreaker anyway, you see what I mean? So it's just, I mean, you can clarify it if you want, but that was the key there, was that, because the problem is, if it's an objection to a liquor license, depending on how the question's worded, 4-4 could fail it, 4-4 could pass it, depending on how the question's worded. Should this not be objected to? Should this be objected to?
Okay.
So if you want to clarify that the president votes in the case of a tie, just to ensure that there is a result, by all means, write that in.
President Greer.
Thank you, Chair. It's pretty standard in like Robert's rules or anything that outlines when who votes. As far as like the president, a voting member would break the tie. Like when you're calling a special person out, that's kind of what you're saying to begin with. But I think what you're trying to get to is if somebody's absent, or maybe that a role's being filled. I got what you're saying now that I'm talking through it. But yeah, the way it's worded now is pretty straightforward and like Robert's rules and how things
Okay.
are. Like you would call that special person out as, you don't necessarily say they're the tiebreaker, but they have
They
a
are.
voting role.
Okay. Okay, so then that's probably worded fine then, don't you think, Mrs. Beck?
I suppose so.
Okay. Then that was it for questions? No, because we went through everything last time.
Sure, okay. Yeah, I don't have any more.
Okay. So Councilman Heidick will just make those edits that we've discussed and then call on it next week through committee of the whole and then vote on it the next week? It's not really a vote, but it's just
You have to-
accepting
you
it?
have to Call it out of here, and
Yeah.
then it'll be on miscellaneous, and then you would call the committee of the whole that we called it out, and
Yep.
then it would be in miscellaneous unfinished business.
In 2 weeks?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
3 weeks.
In 3 weeks?
Yes, it was fifth Monday.
Oh, yeah.
Fifth Monday again? Wow. Popping up everywhere. Okay, perfect. Can I have a motion to call for the rules governing the council?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Can I have a second?
Second?
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you guys for entertaining all the conversation about this, and Councilman Heidick for all your work on it. I have no pending legislation. Do we have any miscellaneous discussion? President Greer?
Thank you, Chair. Just, if you could, break out those things in individual sections to be voted on, and then have it to me and the clerk, so we can make sure that it's all right when we go to vote on the floor.
Okay.
And miscellaneous. Thank you.
With no miscellaneous, can I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. And a second?
Second?
Thank you. We are adjourned at 6:37 PM.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Gerhart. Next up, City Utilities, Mr. Griffin.
Thank you, Mr. President. Today is September 22nd, 6:38. I would like to call this meeting to order today. All my members are present, Jennifer Hager, myself, the chair, Emily Beck, and Jessica Greer. We have no new legislation to call for, and we have no pending legislation. Do we have any miscellaneous discussion for utilities from council or the gallery? Hearing none, I have a motion to adjourn. Thank you, Mrs. Hager. Second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Emily. To adjourn at 6:39. That I pass.
Thank you, Mr. Griffin. Last but not least, Finance Personnel, Mrs. Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to bring the Finance and Personnel Committee to order. It is Monday, September 22nd, 6:39 here in council chambers. All members of my committee are present, as well as all other council members, and guests as noted on my sheet. First up, we have the presentation of the finance report for August of 2025 with Mr. Flaker.
Thank you. Starting with the health insurance fund. For the month of August, revenues were just over $433,000. Our expenditures was little over $447,000. Makes our net year-to-date almost $170,000 in the hole. Moving on to the income tax. Estimates for the month of August. Yeah, you'll see 2 Julys. That bottom one's supposed to be August. That was just a typo by us. Was 1.19 million. Our actuals came in at a little over 1.24. We transferred $1 million to the general fund. All other transfers have been completed for the year. Our net year-to-date of what we collected, we're over our estimates by a little over 1.5 million. Moving on to the statement of cash receipts and disbursements, it's the normal funds in the negative, city grant fund, the FEMA fund, CDBG, all those federal grant programs that once we expend the funds, we can get reimbursed for them. The only other one in the negative is also the health insurance fund, just due to our PO that we have outstanding for our monthly premium to Summit County. Moving on to the last
Prior year versus current year.
yeah, they have it in a different order.
It is, yeah.
I'll have to get on them tomorrow about that one. So prior year to current year, that threw me off for a second. You'll notice that the general fund looks like it's down, but as we all know, earlier this year, we did part of the budget, the $6 million transfer out from general fund to the capital project fund for the Justice Center City Hall project. So while we are down, we're down about 6.7 compared to this time last year. So, I mean, we have used up about $700,000, or used 700, well, we're in the hole by about $700,000 compared to last year at this time. Special revenue funds, they have stayed about the same. Enterprise funds has stayed about the same. All other funds, that's a little skewed just due to us transferring that $6 million from the general fund. So moving on to the last 3 months of activity now. General fund went down slightly from last month to this month. Special revenues funds went up slightly. Enterprise funds went down a little bit, and all other funds saw its normal $300,000 to $400,000 increase that it has every month due to the chargebacks to the departments for employee health care costs. So as you can see, basically all our major revenue types, they've been staying about the same the past handful of months. So, any questions? All right, thank you.
Since there are no questions, do I have a motion to call this out? Thank you. In a second.
Second.
Thank you. Those in favor?
Aye.
All right. For pending legislation, we've got ordinance number 142-2025, titled Grant Request America 250. This would approve the submission of a grant request by the mayor to the Barberton Community Foundation in the amount of up to $25,000 for the America 250 Ohio Grants Program and Barberton 135 celebration in 2026 and declaring an emergency. Mayor, I did have a question, and I talked to Mr. Flaker about this earlier, but do you know if we received anything from the state? From back in 2024, we had approved a grant request back in November to the America 250 Ohio Grants Program.
No, we do not receive anything.
We haven't received anything for that. Did we get like a denial or? Okay. Okay. So can you just briefly talk about like what this would be used for?
So we're still discussing ways of celebrating the two kind of birthdays. So we have a committee that we meet monthly, and we're going to start meeting a little more frequently than that. But just different ways that we can celebrate the two birthdays. So we're looking at different programs. We're looking at some projects. This would mostly go for some programs throughout the community, and also some items that we can give out to people. The city of Akron gave out reusable bags you could take to the grocery store or something, celebrating their 200th birthday. So we're looking at those types of things.
Thank you. Okay. And then, and that other just from my memory, that's the only other grant application we submitted for this, correct? Okay. Okay. We also have ordinance number 144-2025, titled appropriation fire department. So it appropriate $7,687.50 from the city grant fund to the fire department's capital budget and declaring an emergency. And that's all I have this evening. Is there any miscellaneous from my committee or the body? Anything from the gallery? Hearing none, do I have a motion to adjourn? And a second.
Second?
We are adjourned at 6:46.
Thank you, Mrs. Thompson. That concludes our individual committee meetings this evening. Let's take a 5-minute break and come back, and we'll begin the regular legislative meeting.
What's your sickness?
We good to go? All right. All right, so today is Monday, September 22nd, 2025. This is a regular legislative meeting of Barberton City Council. I call this meeting to order at 6:57 p.m. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by invocation by myself.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, thank you for another great day as we come together of leaders for our community. Help us be compassionate while being steadfast in our beliefs. I ask that you continue to watch over our safety forces, and as always, I ask you to never let us forget the 22. Amen.
Amen.
All right. Clerk, can you please call the roll?
President Greer.
Present.
Mr. Heidick.
Here.
Mrs. Thompson. Here. Mrs. Hager.
Here.
Mr. Easterling.
Here.
Mr. Griffin.
Here.
Mrs. Beck.
Here.
Ms. Gerhart.
Here.
Mr. Harris.
Here.
All right. Approval of the minutes of the regular legislative meeting held on Monday, September 8th, 2025, as presented. Mr. Heidick.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to approve the minutes of the regular legislative meeting from September 8th, 2025.
Thank you. Mrs. Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I will second Mr. Heidick's motion on approval.
All right. Thank you. A motion was made by Mr. Heidick and seconded by Mrs. Thompson to approve the minutes of the regular legislative meeting held on Monday, September 8th, 2025, as presented. Are there any remarks? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, those minutes are adopted. Approval of the minutes of the special legislative meeting held on Monday, September 15th, 2025, as presented. Mr. Heidick.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to approve the minutes of the special legislative meeting from September 15th, 2025.
Thank you. And Mrs. Thompson, I would normally ask you, but I will ask Mr. Griffin for a second.
I'll second it.
Thank you. A motion was made by Mr. Heidick and seconded by Mr. Griffin to approve the minutes of the special legislative meeting held on Monday, September 15th, 2025, as presented. Are there any remarks? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, those minutes are adopted. Petitions and claims.
We have none.
Matters requested.
They have all been dispersed.
Thank you. Citizens addressing council. I do have one. So, I thought you were raising your hand.
Nope.
So, Mr. Thompson, if you want to come up here, just state your name, address, reason for speaking. We'll give you 5 minutes, and just know that the council cannot talk back. They can't answer questions or ask you questions, so it's just you addressing council.
Okay, all right, that's fine. Hello, everybody. My name's Dave Thompson, and I own a company called Monogram Development. And 30 years ago, I stood in this room and requested approvals to develop the Rite Aid building that is out on the corner of Worcester and 31st Street, and have been a proud owner of that building for those approximately 30 years, which today, unfortunately, with the loss of our beloved Rite Aid store, we have an empty building. We've been working diligently through our brokers and on both a national level, a regional level, local levels. We've been turning over the rocks, and we are looking diligently for someone to occupy that building. Been working with Mayor Judge and working with Monty, working with the development office, and I do appreciate everybody's assistance on doing that. And that's why I'm here to basically just say that I'm here to encourage a positive review of the changing of the moratorium that is currently on dollar stores in the marketplace overall. And my understanding is that the change is to permit vacant buildings to potentially be used for that type of use. Vacant buildings, that moratorium, by working with the change in the moratorium, we won't be, if we move in that direction, we won't be adding any additional inventory in buildings to the market. We'll just be utilizing vacant buildings that are there. And when you utilize vacant buildings, as we would like to use that building, you're providing, obviously, employment for the community. You're providing products and services, which of course are adjusted in the stores to accommodate what the local people want to buy. That's what retailers do. And we also, by doing that, we maintain the property values, so it maintains the property tax base, et cetera. And what I have done on other buildings like that in the past, and I own several of those. But in those situations, when we get somebody new in the building, we completely refresh the exterior of the building. I know Stacy Carr had some drawings. I don't know if anybody has seen those, but I know I had given those to her, and she was going to circulate some of those. But as examples of what the buildings look like, as what that building looks like today, and then what happens with the transition, with the metamorphosis when we refresh that exterior with repaints, with any improvements on the exterior, and a refresh on the parking lot. And the interior of the building would be completely remodeled. And in that situation, you basically end up with a brand-new facility, and you're looking to the future and what it's going to do for that future use. And we're hopeful that we can do that type of thing. And with your approval of the modification of the moratorium, again, not adding new inventory, but using a vacant building, it'll give us another tool in the box, if you will, to try to get this building occupied so we can get it going again for all of our benefits. And so I'm asking for that this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, there are no further citizens addressing council, and we'll hop over to first reading of ordinances and resolutions.
Ordinance number 141-2025, presented by Mr. Heidick. Title, Adopting Chapter 1479 of the Barberton Codified Ordinances, Licensing Procedures and Regulations for Short-Term Rental Units. An ordinance adopting Chapter 1479 of the Barberton Codified Ordinance titled Licensing and Procedures and Regulations for Short-Term Rental Units and declaring an emergency.
Thank you. Motion to suspend, Mr. Heidick.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the rule required by Section 5.10 of the Barberton City Charter be suspended.
Thank you, Mrs. Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I will second Mr. Heidick's motion on suspension.
Thank you. A motion was made by Mr. Heidick and second by Mrs. Thompson to suspend the rule as required by Section 5.10 of the Barberton City Charter. Are there any remarks? Clerk, please call the roll on suspension.
Mr. Easterling?
Yes.
Ms. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mrs. Thompson?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mrs. Hager?
Yes.
Mr. Griffin?
Yes.
Mr. Heidick?
Yes.
Mrs. Beck?
Yes.
Motion for suspension carries. Motion to adopt, Mr. Heidick.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to adopt ordinance 141-2025.
Thank you, Mrs. Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to second Mr. Heidick's motion on adoption.
Thank you. A motion was made by Mr. Heidick and second by Mrs. Thompson to adopt ordinance number 141-2025. Are there any remarks? Clerk, please call the roll on adoption.
Mrs. Beck?
Yes.
Mr. Heidick?
Yes.
Mr. Griffin?
Yes.
Mrs. Hager?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mrs. Thompson?
Yes.
Ms. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Easterling?
Yes.
Motion for adoption carries.
Ordinance number 142-2025, presented by Mrs. Thompson. Title, Grant Request American 250. An ordinance approving the submission of a grant request by the mayor of the city of Barberton to the Barberton Community Foundation in the amount of up to $25,000 for the America 250 Ohio Grants Program and Barberton 135 celebration in 2026 and declaring an emergency.
Thank you. Motion to suspend, Mrs. Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the rule is required by Section 5.10 of the Barberton City Charter be suspended.
Thank you, Mr. Heidick.
Thank you, Mr. President. I will second Councilor Thompson's motion on suspension.
Thank you. A motion was made by Mrs. Thompson and second by Mr. Heidick to suspend the rule as required by Section 5.10 of the Barberton City Charter. Are there any remarks? Clerk, please call the roll on suspension.
Mrs. Hager?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Easterling?
Yes.
Mr. Heidick?
Yes.
Mrs. Beck?
Yes.
Mrs. Thompson?
Yes.
Mr. Griffin?
Yes.
Ms. Gerhart?
Yes.
Motion for suspension carries. Motion to adopt, Mrs. Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the adoption of ordinance number 142-2025.
Thank you, and Mr. Heidick.
Thank you, Mr. President. I will second the motion to adopt.
Thank you. A motion was made by Mrs. Thompson and second by Mr. Heidick to adopt ordinance number 142-2025. Are there any remarks? Clerk, please call the roll on adoption.
Ms. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Griffin?
Yes.
Mrs. Thompson?
Yes.
Mrs. Beck?
Yes.
Mr. Heidick?
Yes.
Mr. Easterling?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mrs. Hager?
Yes.
Motion for adoption carries.
Resolution number 143-2025, presented by Mr. Heidick. Title, amend ordinance number 124-2021, various types of businesses moratorium. A resolution amending ordinance number 124-2021, various types of business moratorium to allow the permissibility of dollar store infills while maintaining a moratorium stayed in place regarding new construction and permitting, and declaring an emergency.
Thank you. Motion to suspend, Mr. Heidick.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the rules required by Section 5.10 of the Barberton City Charter be suspended.
Thank you. Mrs. Thompson?
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to second Mr. Heidick's motion on suspension.
Thank you. A motion was made by Mr. Heidick and seconded by Mrs. Thompson to suspend the rule as required by Section 5.10 of the Barberton City Charter. Are there any remarks? Clerk, please call the roll on suspension.
Mrs. Beck?
Yes.
Mrs. Thompson?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Ms. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Heidick?
Yes.
Mrs. Hager?
Yes.
Mr. Easterling?
Yes.
Mr. Griffin?
Yes.
Motion for suspension carries. Motion to adopt, Mr. Heidick.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to adopt Resolution 143-2025.
Thank you. And Mrs. Thompson?
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to second Mr. Heidick's motion on adoption.
Thank you. A motion was made by Mr. Heidick and seconded by Mrs. Thompson to adopt resolution number 143-2025. Are there any remarks? Clerk, please call the roll on adoption.
Mr. Griffin?
Yes.
Mr. Easterling?
Yes.
Mrs. Hager?
Yes.
Mr. Heidick?
Yes.
Ms. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mrs. Thompson?
Yes.
Mrs. Beck?
Yes.
Motion for adoption carries.
Ordinance number 144-2025, presented by Mrs. Thompson. Title, Appropriations Fire Department. An ordinance appropriating $7,687.50 from the city grant fund to the fire department's capital budget and declaring an emergency.
Thank you. Motion to suspend, Mrs. Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the rule is required by Section 5.10 of the Barberton City Charter be suspended.
Thank you. And Mr. Heidick?
Thank you, Mr. President. I will second Counselor Thompson's motion on suspension.
Thank you. A motion was made by Mrs. Thompson and seconded by Mr. Heidick to suspend the rules required by Section 5.10 of the Barberton City Charter. Are there any remarks? Clerk, please call the roll on suspension.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mrs. Hager?
Yes.
Ms. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mrs. Thompson?
Yes.
Mr. Easterling?
Yes.
Mr. Griffin?
Yes.
Mr. Heidick?
Yes.
Mrs. Beck?
Yes.
Motion for suspension carries. Motion to adopt, Mrs. Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the adoption of ordinance number 144-2025.
Thank you. And Mr. Heidick?
Thank you, Mr. President. I will second the motion to adopt.
Thank you. A motion was made by Mrs. Thompson and seconded by Mr. Heidick to adopt ordinance number 144-2025. Are there any remarks? Clerk, please call the roll on adoption.
Mrs. Beck?
Yes.
Mr. Heidick?
Yes.
Mr. Griffin?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mrs. Hager?
Yes.
Ms. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Easterling?
Yes.
Mrs. Thompson?
Yes.
Motion for adoption carries.
This ends the first reading.
Second reading of ordinances and resolutions.
There are none.
Third reading of ordinances and resolutions.
Ordinance number 95-2025, presented by Mr. Harris. Title, amend BCO chapters 670, trees, weeds, and grass. An ordinance amending Barberton Codified Ordinances, chapter 670, trees, weeds, and grass, to include 3 new sections. 670.06, nuisances, trees, shrubs, bushes, grasses, and weeds. 670.07, abatement of declared nuisances, trees, shrubs, bushes, grasses, and weeds. And 670.08, assessment of the cost by municipality of declared nuisances and declaring an emergency. This is the third reading. The first reading was on Monday, July 28, 2025, and the second reading was on Monday, September 8, 2025.
All right. Mr. Harris?
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to make a motion to withdraw this ordinance.
All right. Is there a second?
I'll second the motion, Mr. Harris, to withdraw.
Thank you. A motion was made by Mr. Harris and seconded by Mr. Easterling to withdraw ordinance number 95-2025. Are there any remarks? This is to withdraw. All right, clerk, can you please call the roll for the withdrawal?
Mr. Heidick?
Yes.
Ms. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mrs. Thompson?
Yes.
Mrs. Hager?
Yes.
Mr. Griffin?
Yes.
Mrs. Beck?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Easterling?
Yes.
All right, motion for withdrawal carries.
This ends the third reading.
All right, appointments,
We have none.
miscellaneous and unfinished business. Mr. Heddick.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to move to excuse Councilors Thompson and Hager from the special legislative meeting on the 15th.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. Motion was made by Mr. Heidick and second by Mr. Harris to excuse Councilors Thompson and Hager from the special legislative meeting September 15th last week. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. They are excused. Any other miscellaneous and unfinished business? Anything from the body? Mrs. Thompson.
Thank you. Being that I wasn't here last week, I just wanted to say, in regards to the ordinance 141, 2025, the short-term rentals, I think that this could be a really good thing for the city. I am a little bit concerned with the building department and how that's going to be handled, but I think long-term, this will be good for us. So, hopefully this is a step in the right direction, and, we've got building a good team there. So I just wanted to say that.
Thank you, Mrs. Thompson. Are there anything else from the body? Department heads? I do have, just real quick, next week is a fifth Monday, so we'll have next week off. October 6th will be our first day back. And I'm getting reports that there's power outages in town. So keep that in mind. Hopefully everybody stays safe. Communication from the mayor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yeah, the notice I received was 9:30 for power to be restored in certain sections of town. Despite the weather forecast for the week, this is a very busy but very exciting week. As you know, Friday starts the celebration. We've got the annual Walk of Fame. So you have Mr. Larry Bidleymeyer, Mr. Steve Kelleher, Mr. Tom Harden, Mr. Terry Taylor, and Mrs. Dorothy Somerville being inducted this year. Immediately following that on Friday will be Tuscany on Tusk, and then following that starts the Mum Festival on Saturday and Sunday. So as mentioned earlier, they always need volunteers. It takes a lot of volunteers to get the Mum Fest underway and be successful. But so just a very, very exciting week. So hope to see everyone out for those. A lot of construction going on throughout town. So just want to reiterate that when you're in a construction zone, things can change. When we get notice that a lane change is going to happen, and it's going to happen for an extended period of time, we let the public know. Zones within the work zone can change periodically. So whether they close a lane off for a couple hours so they can make changes or finish their reconstruction or their paving. We don't send notices out about that. We don't always are aware of that because it's just for a short period of time. But speak of Worcester Road West, when they put in the new water line, obviously there's some lane shifting, so we put a notice out. So it's always good to be mindful that when you're in a work zone, that it is an active construction zone and things can change very quickly. So be mindful that the zone within the zone can change as well. There was some talk last week of speeding in town, and I can tell you that, not that this makes it better, but the speeding is one of the biggest issues in every community, right? So we've met with a lot of communities. We've looked at, how do we kind of control it, whether it's speed tables, speed bumps, speed humps, you name it. We have kind of some criteria that we have to meet in order to implement one of those devices or one of those things. So we're actively doing that, kind of taking stats and making sure that we have the data to support it. year-to-date, end of August this year, we've made over 7,000 traffic stops, our police department. This is compared to just over 5,000 last year. So that's, in 8 months, that's 875 stops per month, and about 200 stops each week on average, January through the end of August of this year. So we have also seen an increase in traffic crashes this year. So last year, 625, this year 722. So about 100 more crashes this year. Also, I saw on Facebook, or was made aware of, kind of listing the number of, high number of parcels owned by the city. And there's 450 some parcels. What the article or the post, I didn't read it, or I didn't see it, didn't say is that just because there's a lot doesn't mean that it's one parcel. So think of Block 7, the parking lot, there's like 20 parcels there. So if you say 450 parcels, that's accurate, but it's not 100% accurate because it makes the assumption that there's separate groups, you know what I mean? So if you think of the YMCA Parks Administration Building, there's 3 or 4 parcels there. I want to say Newton Park has 4 or 5 parcels. And it doesn't make any sense because there's some parcels that are so small you never build on it. So why was it even created, right? So just be mindful that there's always kind of another side when there's information given. So 450 parcels, and that doesn't include just Barberton. We own land in Copley. We own land in Norton. So you think of the reservoir, you think of the plants, things of that nature. So if you have any questions, please let me know on that. The fire at 467 West Tusk, State Fire Marshal has been in. No report has been issued that I'm aware of. I want to get you guys all the information kind of in one group instead of kind of piecemealing it. I have reached out and talked to the developer, Steve Kuhn and Company. They are still interested in moving forward. But again, that fire marshal's report has not been released that I'm aware of. But again, I want to collect all the information and get that out to you guys, okay? And then just lastly, health board meeting will meet this Wednesday. We'll meet at the mayor's conference room instead of in this room. So, any questions? Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. I did want to point out as well with the number of city properties owned, people have to consider that when we tear certain houses down in flood zones with FEMA money, nothing can be built there under FEMA standards, am I correct?
Correct.
And a lot of parcels that we own we've just always owned in flood zones, we're not going to part with them because we own them to mitigate flooding. There's no reason to let somebody build something and force water everywhere. So certain properties that we own do have certain functions. Now, when you see some empty lots, I have seen some and talked to neighbors with the price of property taxes rising. When you have a small side lot and you have a neighbor to the left, a neighbor to the right, and a neighbor behind it, and none of them want it because they don't want extra land and have property tax, what are you supposed to do? Put a gun to their head and say, take this land? I mean, we do get hosed on some of these lots. I'm one of the biggest proponents that we should own as much as we do, but at the same time, you can't force somebody to buy something just because it's there. And even giving it to somebody, they're free to say no.
Right.
So.
Yeah, we have a number of lots through the planning department that council has given permission to sell, so those are actively being marketed. But as Councilman Heidig said, we do have a side lot program, and if there's been a number of adjoining neighbors who either didn't want it or didn't qualify. So are we going to sell them a non-buildable lot to add to their yard, which makes sense, but if they're already delinquent on their taxes and delinquent on their utility bills, but they've got money to buy the side lot. And obviously the standards have changed too, the width of buildable lots and all of that. So we have been looking at selling more lots, and we've got an RFP out now. And but to the same kind of on the other side of the coin there, if you don't own it, you don't control it, right? So we want to be in charge of our destiny and bring in new houses, and we want to bring in the right type of housing and want to bring in the right type of businesses. It's advantageous at times to own property. Case in point with stormwater mitigation. I don't know how many calls I got saying, well, it's your fault, City of Barberton, Mayor Judge, that no one told me when I bought this house that it was in a flood zone. And I respond, I didn't know you were buying the house. I would have told you if you would have asked me, but, right, that should have been disclosed to them. Or when people say, well, I can't believe my house floods, I bought it for $10,000. Well, maybe you should ask these questions. Again, it's not the city's responsibility to let people know, because we're not sure when people are buying property all the time. But it's advantageous for us to acquire these properties in flood zones, work with agencies like FEMA, and not allow people to build or rebuild on these lots. So, kind of a lot of things when it comes to city property. The property you had talked about off of Snyder Avenue, it's an odd-shaped L. Why or how they created a parcel that way, and it goes over some of the stream there, the canal. But it's a city-owned parcel. It's very odd. So, yes.
I had 3 questions. Will there be a leaf schedule coming out soon, and when to expect that?
Yeah, they're starting to fall, aren't they? Yeah. 50 days without rain, I think that happens. But yeah, we're gearing up. We don't have the leaf schedule yet, do we?
So typically leaves don't start until the end of October.
End of October. Wow, okay.
Oh, it's all brown right now. Yeah,
Okay.
they're falling a little quicker than
Our
normal.
guys are still making street repairs and that kind of stuff up through. I mean, really when the weather starts cooling off, that's when we start picking up leaves. So there's a lot of other work that can still be done right now.
Okay. That sounds good. And then you mentioned that you talked to Steve Kuhn and he is still interested, but you don't have the report from the fire marshal. Could that report change Steve's mind? Or you were just saying that
I mean,
to give us information?
I think, I'm not going to speculate on what the report says or how that might change or not change Steve's mind. So, I mean, hopefully that comes out soon.
Okay.
Yeah.
The way you worded it made me think he was waiting to make a decision or something.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's a million things that kind of variables. The feds just cut the interest rate, which is a huge deal when you're trying to get a loan or look at construction material. There was speculation they're going to cut the rate for the last year and a half, right? It just happened. There's speculation that they're going to convene again in November and cut it some more. Could happen, maybe not. Speculation that they may meet in the first quarter of next year and cut the rate again. So, if you're looking at, even though it may be 0.25%, that's a huge amount of money when you're looking at change, when you're looking at borrowing $11 million or something of that nature. So, so there's a lot of factors. And when you put that capital stack together, and this one is very complicated, so, one slight change can throw everything in one way or another. So,
Yeah.
but I know Steve and his company, his group, was looking at putting together kind of a response for city council. So I'm waiting for that.
Yeah,
So.
okay. And the last, I'm offering a little pushback on the construction one, just because that particular section of Worcester Road West hasn't been part of the construction per se. I think it's just had barrels this whole time directing you out of the one-way detour. So for it to be suddenly closed for 2 days with no prior notice, and there was a cop car up at Worcester Road West and 31st, and one down at Hudson Run, so cops were coordinated. It probably would have been a good time just to heads up everybody in that, because it was more than a lane change. It was
And that would have gone
a
through
big
dispatch.
closure.
So
Yeah,
the police, most likely did not know where they're going to set up until they got on scene, right?
yeah,
So that would have gone through dispatch.
yeah, okay.
But yeah, you're talking about from Hudson Run to 31st Street.
Because I agree with you, lane changes, you gotta pay attention.
Right.
But in that instance, for this entire time the project has happened,
Yeah.
it's been 2 ways right there. And this was the first time it wasn't, so just nobody knew. So, that's all. Thank you.
Okay. All right, thank you.
All right, thank you, Mayor. With nothing else, do I have a motion to adjourn? Mr. Heidick.
Thank you, Mr. President. Motion to adjourn.
Thank you. Is there a second, Mrs. Thompson?
Thank you, Mr. President. I'll second that motion to adjourn.
Thank you. A motion was made by Mr. Heidick and seconded by Mrs. Thompson that we adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Didn't think so. This meeting is adjourned at 7:26.